if these two things take place in the near future, then the liberation of Balochistan will be a matter of not years or months, but weeks.
Hello, namaste, and welcome to Citti Media and the Festival of Bharat. My name is Sharan Citti, and I'll be your host for this program. Joining me today for a conversation is Dr. Amjad Ayub Mirza ji. He is an author and a human rights activist based in UK. Amjad ji, namaste. Thank you so much for joining us. It's your first time on the platform.
Namaste ji, thank you very much for having me.
First of all, it's an honor and a privilege to have you here, like I said. And we've recently witnessed what is happening in Balochistan, and the Baloch Liberation Army shot down the Pakistani chopper. Is this a usual pattern of events, or do you see something different happening in Balochistan?
Well, what is happening in Balochistan is now a coordinated effort by the Baloch liberation movement to counter Pakistani offensive in Balochistan, because whatever we see happening in Balochistan from the Baloch Liberation Army, Baloch Liberation Front, United Baloch Army, Baloch Nationalist Movement Army, or Republican Guards of Balochistan, is in retaliation of Pakistan military operation that is going on for decades now. So the chopper that you mentioned, that was they were actually the Baloch Saramchars of PLA Majid Brigade have downed four Pakistani gunship helicopters and one drone, and also massive casualties have taken place among the Pakistani army, up to nearly 200.
What's
The ongoing
movement?
offensive has now come to an end in Panjgor and in Noshki after 70 hours. So it's over now. Yeah.
Right. What's the future of the Free Balochistan movement, according to you, Amjad ji?
Well, the future of Balochistan independence movement depends on how well the Baloch Saramchars can coordinate among themselves different Baloch liberation militant organizations and armies, how well they coordinate among themselves, so that they can effectively counter the Pakistani offensive all over Balochistan. And secondly, how well do they connect with the political and social movement on the ground, which is a non-violent social political movement. So if these two things take place in the near future, then the liberation of Balochistan will be a matter of not years or months, but weeks.
This is very interesting. Pakistan army is accused of a lot of human rights violations in different regions of the country. And Balochistan is one, and Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir is one. For Indian viewers who are essentially blocked or not aware of what happens in the other side of the border, could you tell us more about this?
Well, what happens when a country or part of a country comes under the illegal occupation of a master country? When Bharat was colonized by the British, what happened? They plundered Britain. We say that the British laid down railway tracks and they, erected telegraph poles, etc. They did not do that to facilitate the Hindustani Janata. They did that so that they can quickly, gather all the wealth of the mother India from several parts of India, and then use the railway trains, goods trains to bring them to dry ports or wet ports, and then take them out of India. So if you come to Britain, and you will find a lot of streets are named after those plunderers and traders who were directly involved in the looting of Bharat Mata, and they've got streets in their names. So, and the huge buildings. The whole of Europe was built on the carcasses of the people whom they enslaved in Africa, in Asia, and Bharat was no exception. Similarly, if you see Islamabad is a very modern city, it's beautifully laid down. And when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Banglu Bandhu of Bangladesh, when he came to Islamabad before Bangladesh was made, he said that I can smell jute from the street lights and the roads of Islamabad because they are built on the plunder of East Pakistan Bengali economy.
Right.
Similarly, if you see today, if you go into an army general's house, the wood that they use in their houses for construction, like doors and windows and all that, that wood, where does it come from? It comes from Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir. Where does the electricity that is generated for Punjab comes from? It comes from Mangla Dam, which is in PoJK. It comes from Kahuta hydropower project, which is based in PoJK. And on what cost? On the cost of huge internal displacement of indigenous people, at the cost of diversion of our rivers, causing huge ecological problems, lack of water, and birds, so many species of birds disappearing suddenly, creating an ecological imbalance. So there are no human rights, there are no political rights, there are no, we are a colony of Pakistan. So we are being plundered left, right, and center.
Something very interesting is that you also dream of an Akhand Bharat. Why is that?
Well, it's not my dream, it's the dream of our forefathers.
Yes.
It's the dream that strives for the fulfillment of a task that was given to us from our previous generations. Because if you look at the geographical map of Sanatan Dharma, you will suddenly come to realize that it was not only the oldest organized way of life that was introduced to the humankind, it was also geographically the most vast Sanatani Paraparam from India, Delhi to Cambodia and Indonesia and Afghanistan and all that. 1,000 years ago, these were all Hindus were practicing Sanatan Dharam there. But with the expansion of Arab imperialism, which took Quran and the Sharia of Islam as their ideological weapon and started invading Africa and Asia, then we see slowly that Sanatan Dharam began to disappear. But still we have got buildings, temples, remnants of our old Sanatani civilization in those parts of the world that remind us of our great glorious past. Hence, I believe that our aim should be to establish Akhand Bharat. Now, Akhand Bharat in modern day and age would be established in a different way than it was done in like 1,000 years ago through wars and through all that kind of thing. But unless Sanatan Dharam is re-established in Southeast Asia, we cannot have peace, because Sanatan Dharam is the religion of peace, which practices peace. Not like Islam, which they claim is a religion of peace, but in practice, it's a religion of violence, or has become a religion of violence.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And you know the regions very well within Pakistan, in the modern day Pakistan, at least Balochistan and PoJK. How do the people of Balochistan and the Kashmiris who are under oppression in Pakistan think or feel about India? What's their attitude towards us?
Well, the Baloch look at India as a friendly neighbor. They love India, and they expect that once Balochistan is liberated, they will prosper because they will have very good relations with India, and the so-called jihadist oppression of Baloch natural and human resources will come to an end. Whereas the people of Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir and Pakistani occupied Gilgit Baltistan. I only give you an example. Pakistan was celebrating or observing Kashmir Solidarity Day on the 5th of February, and they had left no stone unturned to make sure that it will be a big success. But what happened? In literally every city, the students, the youths came out and protested. And what were they protesting? They were saying Kashmir Solidarity is a fraud. Kashmir Solidarity Day is fake. And they were chanting slogans against Pakistan and against Pakistan army. This is a turning point in our struggle to liberate ourselves from Pakistan. Now, Muzaffarabad city was totally deserted. And I have photographs which I will share with you, and you can show your viewers in
Sure.
this program, where you can see that army is standing on the roads in PoJK in the capital Muzaffarabad, and there is not a single person there. So things are changing. The youth wants to come to terms with the past and move on and rejoin, I would say, India. And already 7,000 Pakistanis have reportedly applied and obtained Indian citizenship.
Right.
And people in Pakistan, Punjab, forget about us. Even the Punjab people want to, live in India. They say that India is a prosperous country. It's a developing country. There are more opportunities in India. And what is Pakistan giving us? So
This is extremely interesting, Amjadji. If I may redirect your attention to something else that happened today, a very unfortunate incident happened. Lata Mangeshkar Didi passed away at the age of 92, and she's left a humongous impact and a legacy on a lot of people, not just in India. So, is there any anecdotes that you can recall about Lata Didi? Because you were telling me about this earlier when we were on a phone call.
yeah, it's a very sad day actually, and Lata ji lives in our hearts. We just believe that, I personally believe that she, the body, the sharir has, is there, but the Atma has left, and the Atma will enter into a new sharir, and Lata ji will come back. There will be a reincarnation. She will come back even more beautiful, with an even more beautiful voice, and she will always be there. Even now she is with us. She is in the atmosphere. She is watching us and smiling at us, that how much we loved her. Now, I remember in Pakistan during the martial law period, we were not allowed to listen to Indian radio. So every day, I remember, I think between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock Pakistani time in those days, I'm talking about the late 70s, we used to tune into Radio Akashvani. I don't know if it is still there or not, but at that time there used to be a Radio Akashvani and a Radio Ceylon. तो वो ऐसे बोलते थे, ये रेडियो सिलोन है, and दूसरा होता था, ये रेडियो आकाशवाणी है. So we used to tune into both at different times, and they used to have special programs for Farmaish, so people would send their requests, and they would play the songs. So we never sent a request because we did not have the address, or we did not have the facility to send a letter. But we used to tune in and we used to listen to Lataji's songs. Then in Rawalpindi, I used to live, and in Rawalpindi at that time, there were shops that used to record music for you. So you give them a list of your selected songs, and they will be recorded it on a tape, and then you bring it back and you can listen to it. So उस वक्त जो है वो हम लिस्ट दे देते थे एंड देन वो उस लिस्ट को, लता के गाने होते थे, लता जी के, तो वो लता जी के गाने जो है वो चोरी हमें भर के दिया करते थे। तो 20 रुपए होते थे एक कैसेट के उस जमाने में, तो हम उनको 30 रुपए दे के लता जी के गाने, किशोर जी के गाने, ये हम भर लेते थे और सुनते थे दोस्त आपस में बैठ के। तो ज़ाहिर है, we grew up with Lata ji. Today the whole of PoJK, whether it's our enemy or our friend, everybody is sad, and this is the only you know thing that we share or we have in common with our enemy. हमारा दुश्मन जो है वो भी लता जी को सुनता है और हम भी लता जी को सुनते हैं। इतनी ग्रेट वो, शी वाज सच अ ग्रेट एंड सच अ बिग पर्सनालिटी that she was loved by everyone. भारत के दुश्मन भी लता जी के गाने सुन के गुनगुनाते हैं और भारत के जो दोस्त हैं वो भी लता जी के गाने सुन के गुनगुनाते हैं। ऐसी कोई पर्सनैलिटी मैंने तो दुनिया में आज तक देखी नहीं। बहुत अफसोस होता है, गिलगित बल्तिस्तान जो है पाकिस्तानी मकबूजा और पीओजेके के लोग जो है आज अपने बाकी भारतवासियों के साथ उनके दुख में, उनके दर्द में बराबर के शरीक हैं।
Absolutely, and we hope that she attains Sadgati and she's left a big void in all our lives. Amjad ji, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've been not keeping well, and you still agreed to do this interview. And I hope we can have a conversation very soon and discuss in detail as to what atrocities the Pakistani army has been doing in Pakistan and how India as a friend of the people of Pakistan can help liberate and voice out and bring awareness to a lot of the causes that you and people like you stand for. Thank you so much. Namaste and thank you so much.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind ji.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.